everybody, it's Rakaya Gibson, the, the author. I am the author, but not today. It's Rakaya Gibson, the owner of the Temptress Cookbook Store here in Virginia Beach and online at foodtemptress.com. And today we are featuring Davon Moseley with, let's get into it. If he'll show us the book, let's get into it. 130 comfort food recipes for the novice cook. So we love featuring Black authors, and I'm so excited to have you. Welcome, Davon.
Thank you for having me. It's a blessing to be here.
Good. So not to use the pun, but let's get into it. I guess I did use the pun intentionally. So there you have it. I'm all over the place this morning, but I'm going to this evening. It's just getting worse and worse. Okay.
It's all good.
So let's think back. So you're born and raised in Washington, D.C., in the Maryland area. But I want you to think back to when you were growing up in Scotland Neck, North Carolina.
Yeah. So like you said, born in D.C., raised in D.C. and PG County, Maryland. But I have roots in Scotland Neck, North Carolina, where both of my parents are from, both sides. And, spent a lot of time going there back and forth through my childhood years. And, for me, just going down there really allowed me to see what love really is, as far as just community and that aspect of, my family, they're a trip, man. I love them to pieces, like any family, you go through what you go through. But with them, I feel like we always come together and we always figure things out. And, anytime we had any events going on or anything that was major, there was always food around, so I definitely feel like that's where my love for food comes from my family.
Okay. So think about so when you started cooking, how old were you?
Definitely probably say around like 8, 9, 10-ish, around that age. Always was around food, but when I first started making stuff for myself was around that time.
And so what role did food play in your upbringing?
Well, I love to eat. I love to eat. I was a little bit of a chunky kid. I ate a lot of food. It's kind of hard not to eat when you got so many good cooks around you. My aunts and my grandmother, they all were amazing cooks. So, just being able to see them in the kitchen all the time, making food, it allowed me to see how the process of making food is, so not only did I enjoy making it, but I enjoy seeing it being made. So just enjoying the process of it. And I think just the creativity aspect of it and just seeing how they did their own thing with it, that's what really got me into it.
Okay. But I was reading in the book, they only taught you to make one recipe, right? Yeah. So tell us what that was.
Yeah. So as far as my family, like I said, as amazing they are when it comes to cooking, nobody really, took the time to teach me except for, one person. My dad, and through the years I had other people show me, like my mom. I know she's watching this, so I ain't forget about you, Mom. But the first person, to teach me how to cook was my dad. He showed me how to make spaghetti. He told me that, one day when I get older, I'm not gonna be able to eat out all the time, or, I might have a wife, she might be mad at me and don't feel like cooking. So, I got to make something for myself, so he taught me how to make spaghetti, something that is inexpensive, to make and can last me, a few different meals. So shout out to my dad for that.
And what's the name of the recipe in the book?
It's called pasta spaghetti.
I love that. I love that. And it, it's a great recipe to have, when you have single, family, the gang hanging out for football. Exactly. It's a great recipe to have because it fills you up.
Definitely.
So let's think about another time in your life where you really wanted that macaroni and cheese recipe. Why haven't they given you the macaroni and cheese recipe?
Oh, man. I still make a fuss about that to this day, So there's the mac and cheese recipe. It's on my dad's side of the family. Famously, my aunt Shubu, she used to make it, all the time, every holiday gathering. And she passed it down, to a few different people. The last person I know that has it is my cousin Christy. And I asked her, could she teach me how to make it? And she was like, oh, well, I gotta consult some people first, try and be funny and stuff like that. But, they really didn't want to give it to me because they knew that I would share it with you all. It's a family recipe. So I had to, get creative, figure things out on my own. And, I made my own recipe. But I'm happy for that because it challenged me. It challenged me to, make it on my own. There may be a little pause here. Not sure. Not sure if you all can see me, but I think we're still live. So hello, if you're still here. Just gonna wait for everything to get booted back up. But I hope y'all enjoying it. If you are in the chat, I'm not able to see it right now because we're kind of on a separate screen. But definitely appreciate everyone that's here, that's tuned in, that's checking this out. Definitely appreciate each and last one of y'all for supporting me, on this journey, with this book. This book has just been an amazing journey, being able to make this. I put my life's work into this. All my family that's been supporting me, they helped me out on this. So it's a lot of stories, with my family in making this. Oh, we're back.
Yes, sorry. I was having difficulties, just like my whole day. My whole day is just a hot mess. Thank you for keeping it going. I didn't want to interrupt, but thank you for that.
For sure, all good.
So hold up the book again so people get a good look at it, right? Mm-hmm. Let's get into it.
Yeah.
And so you're the creator of Royale Eats. Did I say that right? It's Royale Eats, correct?
I believe so. We had to ask my mom, but yeah, we're gonna get Royale. Okay. Royale. I say that.
I mean, with the E, I'm that's why I say it that way. But
no, it's a joke, with my name. Even with my first name, it's kind of just a little running joke of how to pronounce my name and stuff like that. Those who know. But yeah, Royale. That's how you pronounce it, Royale.
Royale. Okay, so tell us, what is Royale Eats? Mm-hmm. When did you create it and why?
Yeah, so Royale Eats, that's the brand. My middle name is Royale, for those who may not know. So that's where the Royale comes from. Shout out to my mom, for bestowing that name upon me, her being creative. With that, the brand started, was this during COVID, during a pandemic, just having a lot of time on my hands, like many other people. But like I said, I always love food, always love, making different things and being creative. So I didn't really have the idea of starting a food page. That wasn't like my thing where I knew that's what I wanted to do, but I love making food. So I would post different dishes that I made on my social media. And, I just had a lot of friends and, even my family that said, hey, like, you should start a food page. And I was kind of against it at first, not because I didn't think it was a good thing, but, me, I'm kind of out the way, a lot. So I'm never really looking for attention or anything like that. But, they kept pushing me to do it. And I said, okay, like, I'll see where this goes. So, started posting things and, early on and gained a lot of traction, a lot of support, that I'm super grateful for and super thankful for. And, just over time, just kept, seeing what did the people like and what did I feel was unique to me to be able to make. And, that's how we get that. So when you have Royale Eats, these are things that I make, that I approve of within myself, that I'm confident in and that I love to eat and that I want to share with you all. So that's how we get the Royale and the Eats part.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And so you have millions of followers. So you're doing something right over there. What is one of your most popular dishes?
I'll say my most popular ones would probably be the sausage fajita pasta. That's a good one. That's in the book. The honey garlic lemon pepper chicken thighs. That's in the book as well. There's so many. Those are the biggest two. Oh, the garlic butter steak bites in the book as well. All the ones that people love that, really did really well, in recipes that people made. You could definitely look forward to those and a lot more that's in the book. But those three for sure were ones that, people gravitated a lot towards.
I love it. I love it. So since we're talking about recipes, so also in the book, you have the mumbo sauce recipe, honor to Washington, D.C. mumbo sauce. Tell people what mumbo sauce is.
I wish I knew exactly what it is, but the best way I can describe it, imagine just like a kind of like a tangier, like barbecue sauce almost, but it's so unique. And that's why I say I wish I could describe it, because every mumbo sauce that you try, you'll usually try it at like a Chinese carryout, and every carryout makes theirs different. And I think that's what makes like the lore behind it so special, that, you know, you find which one you really like that's close in your neighborhood or where you go to, and you feel like this is the best one. And somebody else, they said theirs is the best one, you know. But just growing up, for me, my favorite carryout is called Jimmy's Carryout. I believe it's, where's that at? Like right off of around Hyattsville area. I forget the exact, I think Bladensburg. I think that's exactly where it's at, in Bladensburg, Maryland. To me, that's the best one. And that one's unique because it's a darker mumbo sauce. And a lot of people, you know, usually kind of find that blood red, orangish kind of color, but this one's a little bit darker, but the flavors are amazing. So I use that as my inspiration, you know, for this mumbo sauce. And yeah, I think I did good with this one. So people going to enjoy it from the area.
And did you make this on Royale Eats Instagram page?
I haven't. So I made it
Ooh,
specifically for the book, you know. So
okay.
yeah, so people,
So something new.
yeah.
Good. Very good. And so, and I must say, your Instagram looks amazing, you know. So just tell us, where is it? Royale Eats on Instagram?
Yeah, Royale Eats, ROYALE EATS on Instagram and all other social media platforms.
Cool. I highly recommend following. And make sure you're not hungry when you follow. And then I noticed that you make like an East Carolina style turkey barbecue.
Mm.
And I was really taken aback that you used the drumstick of the turkey, because people usually just, you know, disregard drumsticks. So why did you use drumsticks for that recipe?
Yeah, so just even going back a little bit even further, just so some people that may not, you know about, you know, just the lore behind barbecue. So, you know, a lot of southern states, you know, they all have their own version of barbecue. You know, where I'm from, my family's from, in, you know, the northeastern part of North Carolina and Scarlet Neck. We're mainly known for like a vinegar-based barbecue kind of style sauce with like crushed red pepper and other different spices that are in there. And typically it's made with pork. But me, you know, as I've, you know, transition just through, you know, different eating habits, you know, I no longer eat pork, and I know a lot of other people don't as well, but, you know, barbecue is barbecue. So if you love it, you know, you definitely enjoy it, you know. So I wanted to make something that for people that love barbecues, particularly that North Carolina style barbecue, and even if this is your first time getting introduced to it, but you may not eat pork, you get something that's extremely close, you know. Like we taste tested this a multitude of times and got very close, you know, to the actual, you know, flavor of the pork barbecue. But to answer your question, I use the drumsticks because I found that with the drumsticks, just like in any type of poultry, whether it's the thighs or drumsticks, it's, you know, it has a lot more fat in it, not like fat, but just has a higher fat content, so that when you cook it and when it renders down, you know, it absorbs that and it's still moist. Versus if I was to use like a breast or something like that, when you baking something for that long, you know, for what the recipe calls for, it tends to dry out and things like that. And the texture kind of, you know, isn't the best. But I found that to get as close of resemblance to the pork barbecue, you know, I found using the turkey legs and drumsticks to be the closest equivalent to that, and being able to get the same exact texture and taste with the turkey.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's awesome, because I love turkey turkey drumsticks, but
Mm-hmm.
usually you don't see a lot of recipes for it. So thank you for that.
For
And
sure.
the other thing I like about your book is that there's like something for everybody, right? So you have a range of recipes, but one of the things that is so important, I think, is that you definitely made sure to go back to the basics.
Yeah.
And with the basics, you know, you're making your own butter, you're making your own stock,
Mm-hmm.
and your own what else do you make in there? You're searing your meats. So that was the other thing, just the techniques of searing your meats.
Yeah.
Why did you make sure you add that component in your cookbook?
Yeah, for sure. You know, I wanted to have something, you know, just like how the subtitle suggests, you know, it's for novice cooks, you know. So there are a lot of people that, you know, we might enjoy different dishes and different techniques and how to make different things, but learning the basics of these different things helps build upon that, you know. So being able to make chicken breast and pan searing chicken breast and still keeping it moist, you know, that's a huge thing, you know. Even myself early on when I first started cooking, you know, making sure not to dry out the chicken, making sure I didn't undercook the chicken, you know. So just learning the different techniques to make sure like the chicken is even, making sure it's at room temperature, like with the chicken, with the steak, or with the salmon, you know, doing those different things. There are certain techniques that, you know, might be the smallest little different things that you can do that can help you yield consistent results, you know. So I wanted to make this with somebody, if they never stepped foot in the kitchen, they would have confidence in knowing that, hey, I know how to pan sear chicken. I know how to, make my own buttermilk in case I run out of buttermilk, or say the store doesn't have some, we could, whip up a quick buttermilk with ingredients that we have at home. So I wanted to do these different things for people so that, they have these things on hand and be able to know these different things. So whenever they want to make anything, they have, some basics to follow by.
Mhm. Yes, and you have breads in there, so you can really, sustain yourself
For
from
sure.
like pantry ingredients, right? So yes. So I'm telling you, people, let's see that book one more time. This is the book to get for those people who are out there who are novice cooks. Don't try this for Thanksgiving, but get it for your collection. Practice everyday meals. Have to make sure I say that. So I'm going to bring you back a little bit about the book. Why was it important for you to write this book?
Well, I feel like it was the time for it. I had already began, making, ebooks and stuff on my own, and, gaining that experience under my belt. But, a lot of people, reach out to me saying, hey, like, do you have a physical copy of your ebook? Can I get all your recipes in one different place, for people that want to make, my recipes whenever, like even with the holidays coming up, with Thanksgiving coming up, I made this where I have that section that's called Food for the Soul. That section, you can use that as a basis for Thanksgiving. So I don't want people to, shy away or feel like they can't do it. If this is your first time, bringing something to Thanksgiving, we have something in there for you. I have mac and cheese in there. I know a lot of people feel away about it. I'm confident in that recipe. If you want to bring that, but if you say, hey, I'm not that confident, I got other recipes as well that if you make these different dishes, you could bring this to your family dinner and, your family can enjoy it. But, overall, I just feel like it was time to make this. I wanted to give my supporters, something physical that they can have in their hands and refer back to at any time, in case the internet goes down or they can't get to social media, they have something that they can always reference through time.
Yes, good. That's wonderful. So you've created other ebooks, but this is your first actual hard copy, correct?
Hard copy, and also just understanding, all the proper components. I was able to work with, a Penguin Random House that's a major publication, so for them to want to work with me and to, teach me the proper techniques and how to make a book, and what to do and help me, fine tune my skills as a recipe developer, all that work that was put into, making this book.
And how long did it take you from start to finish?
It was a little over a year. It's like a year,
Okay.
2 months, yeah, to make this book.
All right. But you got it together.
So
Congratulations. So very good. So how can viewers use food to connect with their family and to create like their own food traditions?
Yeah, so I feel like when it comes to food, food is a catalyst to bring people together. I firmly believe that it's kind of hard to be mad and start fights and all that other stuff when good food is around. When people know someone made something good and you have that reputation, people will come to try to, try those different dishes. So I feel like people using food as a caveat to bring people together. In the world we live in today, a lot of people would just look at their phones or see what their family members are doing on Facebook and say, oh, well, they're good, they're alive. Like, no, like get back together with your family, bring family reunions back, host, family dinners once a week or once a month, doing those different things. That's what I want people to bring back, because that love and genuine connection, that's what we need in the world right now. Just with so much going on, I feel like bringing people back together and sharing that love and in that space and that energy, that's what we all really need. So yeah, definitely want people to have these different dishes.
Nice. And so this book will bring people back together, create new traditions. You guys can follow Davon on Instagram and let him know how that came about, what new traditions you've started, what traditions you know brought back, right? Because sometimes we forget, like, because others have passed on with their recipes and traditions, we tend to forget about them and what they've done over the years. And so it's another great way to bring people back together.
For sure, yeah. And like you said, with that, I know for me personally, with my family, my grandmother, she had a multitude of recipes, but unfortunately, when she passed away, a lot of those recipes got lost, so, they may write something down on a note card here or there, but then half the times when we have our elders, they just went off a taste or, feel when it came to measuring things, so being able to have something that you can reference that has, all the individual ingredients listed that's in a physical space, with this book, that's what I want people to have, and to, take this and use this to, make recipes of your own so you can pass down to your family, so we can keep recipes in the family so that, everyone can eat for generations and generations.
Yes, thank you. And that, that's our big mission here at the Food Temptress Cookbook Store. We want people to pass down the recipes, to enjoy them while they're here, but also pass them down. And also, your book right now will serve as a historical record of what we were doing in 2025, right? So we keep these books in circulation for a reason, because it's our history and
Right.
we need to take responsibility to do that. And so the Food Temptress Cookbook Store is one of the reasons why I started this business, was to make sure that we keep our history alive, our stories, our recipes, and we have historical records for generations to come. So, thank you. I mean, I can't thank you enough for that. There's a section in your book that makes me giggle a little. It's called Bringing the Restaurant Home.
Mm-hmm.
So I know we're so tempted to not cook. It's like, I'm guilty of this. And believe it or not, owning a cookbook store, I'm always asking, what am I going to make for dinner? And I have all these cookbooks.
Yeah.
And so tell us about the section on bringing the restaurant home.
Yeah. So with that, I know we're all so, quick to, want to eat out and, do different things, because sometimes, you have a long day at work and stuff like that. You don't really feel like cooking sometimes. I get it. But there's nothing like being able to make a meal, from scratch, make it at home, for yourself and for your loved ones. So, I have different things in there that, you may find, at a restaurant. Like, for example, I have an hibachi chicken recipe, hibachi steak, fried rice. We got the hibachi butter. I went to, what was that? Was it Benihana? Yeah, it was Benihana I went to. I went there myself, got their butter and, learn how to make that butter from scratch. So that's in the book, so just being able to create different dishes that, you want to, eat out with, but being able to have this in the book so that you can make it home, so that, if you want to do something special for your family, you can do.
Mm-hmm. And it's a great way that you organized it. So you even have like the Red Lobster biscuits.
Yeah, got them in the
Ooh. You have the Texas Roadhouse butter,
yeah.
and the dinner rolls.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of organize. You kind of play a Jedi mind trick on us by putting it all in a recipe category, in a restaurant category. So I'm like, it makes you feel like you can make that without stopping at the restaurant,
Mm-hmm.
and making it easy enough and approachable where you can make it in your home. So
Definitely.
good little trick there, my buddy. So let's see.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So the holidays are coming up.
Yes.
Can you share some tips on how holiday cooking can be a little bit more effortless for people, for the novice cook?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely say plan ahead. The further ahead you can plan, the better. Getting your menu laid out, your meat proteins, what you want to make there, all your sides. We know the holidays is, filled with sides. So pick what sides you want to do, the desserts you want to do, making sure that you have, some type of bread, whether it's the dinner rolls or something like that, biscuits, whatever you want to make there. And like I said, just plan ahead. Get your ingredients as far as ahead in advance. You don't want to be in the store in the last minute. I know we all do it, but it's not fun. It's very stressful. You don't want to do that. So if you can go, start now. If you haven't started already, start getting certain different things like your pantry ingredients, get those now. And then once you have everything, just prep ahead. The more and more you can prep ahead, you don't want to be that family, we don't want dinner to start at 7, when Thanksgiving. We want to eat around 12 and be able to snack on it throughout the day. So being able to do that, prep the night before, have different things, the turkey go in the oven, around 3, 4 in the morning, so it'll be done, about that time. You already have it sliced, everything is all good. Being able to make things ahead as much as possible, will help everybody out. So yeah, just make sure that, everyone is, getting your things ahead of schedule, doing what you got to do. You'll be okay, but you need certain recipes. Like I said, I got plenty of side dishes that are in the book. We got a collard greens, we got smothered cabbage, green beans. We got a lot of different things in the book for you. If you need some different, side dish recipes and the entrees, we got those as well. So whatever you need, you definitely can find it in the book. As far as trying to think desserts, got some good desserts as well. We got cookie recipes in there. We got brownie recipes. We have cinnamon roll recipes. It's a lot in here. It's 130 plus recipes. So whatever you need for the holidays, whether it's Thanksgiving, whether it's Christmas, and different things, going forward in the future as well. There's a lot of different recipes in this book that I definitely feel, everyone will be able to enjoy. One thing about this book that I thoroughly enjoy is that, we have some recipes in there, like I said, for novice. If you've never made anything before, we have things in there that you can try. And if you do have experience, there is stuff in there for you as well. So, any recipe that, we have in here, definitely feel like it's approachable for everyone, no matter your age or, demographic, we have something for everyone in this book. So I'm looking forward to everyone, trying these recipes. Let's see, go in here. Just going through it.
All right, we're back. You're back.
Yeah, all good.
All right, good. So we're gonna wrap this up. So tell us, why should people get your cookbook?
You should get my cookbook because of the love and care that was put into it. These recipes, are a reflection of, myself, my family, and my journey through this. And most importantly, it was used to be a mirror for you to be able to see yourself, in these recipes, being able to understand that, hey, I don't have to be, some world-renowned chef just to have confidence in the kitchen. It's okay if you never made a single dish in your life, or if you made hundreds of dishes in your lifetime. We have something for you to be able to enjoy. And I was, briefly, going over, some of the recipes that are in this book. So like one thing in here that I really enjoyed, to where if you make this recipe, if you tell somebody you made this, like their curiosity is going to peak, but I promise you, it is so simple to make. So I have a citrus beer braised chicken tacos, something like that, where you like, oh, like that might sound like, I don't know if I can make that, but it's so simple, so I got that here. That's this one right
Thank
here.
you. Yes.
You can get that in the camera. So something like this, something that, is approachable to make, is simple, it has ingredients that, aren't hard to find, that you can make and, be a star of the show for your family and for yourself. Through all these recipes, I want people to gain confidence in themselves. And I feel like we did a great job, my team and I. So I'm looking forward to everyone grabbing it. If you have any questions, shoot me a message. If you see me in person, ask me. I want people to use this as a guide, throughout their lifetime.
And can you just flip through it for us a little bit so we can peek inside?
Let me see here. So just going through some of the stuff. So like right now, this is like in the pasta section. I know people love chicken Alfredo, so we got that in there too. There's a lot of everything here. Different sauces, different marinades. There is one recipe for sure that I need y'all to try. It's a Korean barbecue cheesesteak. I think a lot of people will love that one.
Okay.
The Korean bulgogi, marinade, if you've ever had that before. And we turned that into a cheesesteak. So definitely feel like a lot of people will love that one. Yeah, there are so many recipes in here.
Yes.
You want to be able to make this. You got brioche buns in here. That you can use those for sandwich bread, or just just regular bread you want to have on hand. Yeah,
great. And it ranges, like your book ranges from like the brunch to a charcuterie to a homemade pasta. If you need to make some. So I love it. So what's next for you?
That is a great question. It's so much. Definitely moving forward, I would love to do another cookbook. So first, we want to get this on, on everybody's hands, but I definitely would love to do another one. This one was so fun, and I gained, a lot of different ideas for what I want to do in the future. So definitely would love to do another one in the future. I have my production studio that I just launched, First Bite Studios, where I have a show currently up right now for season 1 called Borders. It's an outdoor cooking show, kind of adventure, being able to see the landscapes, of the world. So we have that. So definitely want to dive deeper, into my production company and, create more shows. So be on the lookout for that, and just more great recipes, with myself. I definitely feel like I've been able to grow and develop, even just from this book, just being able to see the capacity that I have to, be able to push myself to make a lot more and adventure into other cultures as well and learn how to make their different dishes and be able to share with you all. So just a lot of more great recipes and, just growth, being able to see me grow on this journey, as a recipe developer and as an entrepreneur, and everything that I do to, better myself so that I can be better for you all. So yeah, everything I do is for you all.
Well, thank you. And Borders is on YouTube, correct?
Yes.
All right. And did you launch the Royale Eats newsletter yet?
Yes, we have that as well. Yeah, you can sign
And
up.
how do people sign up for that?
Yeah, so if you go to my website right now, royaleeats.com, ROYAL. Almost got to spell my own name. ROYALEEATS.com. You go there, we can find my free recipes, find a link to purchase the cookbook, and to be able to sign up for the newsletter right there on the homepage.
Great. And I have a few comments that says, come to Hampton Roads and host a live demo of dishes from your book. And somebody also says, definitely want to check it out. So yay, thank you. We're trying to work on that, people. We're trying to work on getting Davon Moseley down here to Virginia Beach, Hampton Roads area. I'm going to work on it. So thank you so much for your time. You can follow Davon at Royale Eats on IG. Are you on Facebook as well?
Yeah, Facebook, TikTok. Yeah.
all the platforms at Royale Eats.
Yes.
We thank you so much. Let's see that book cover one more time. You can also pick it up in our bookstore online at foodtemptress.com. Our copies are coming. I ordered them. They should be here. The book releases on November 4th. Congratulations. We're excited for you. And that's it for Author Talk. Anything else you'd like to add?
Man, let's get into it.
Let's get into it. All right. See you guys. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Take care.